Hey friends, you're tuned in to the Learn or Be Learned podcast, a show where wisdom meets curiosity in order to discover the human experience. I'm your host, Shiva D, and remember, you either learn from or you're learned from. Now, let's get back to the show. All right, welcome back, friends, to another great episode. And this week, we're getting a little bit into Ayurveda and health sciences, right? So I haven't publicly displayed this anywhere, but I'm currently getting my master's and MS in Ayurveda and Integrative Medicine, which is essentially Eastern science, medical science, and philosophy. It is about understanding how lifestyle factors, nature, and herbal remedies can restore balance in an individual's imbalanced state, right? It's about tackling the root cause of health and has a emphasis on preventative medicine. And Western medicine has its place for reactive care, such as surgery, that can often be life-saving and, it's much needed in this world. But I think there's also, coming from a Western background, a Western medicine background, I believe there is a lot of things that we're not getting right in this industry as well. And one of them seems to be a Band-Aid solution to health issues. For example, you're very stressed, so they give you a pill, but then that pill gives you more problems, and then they give you another pill, and it's a cascade of health issues until you are considered a repeat customer in the capitalistic business model, right? So I think this stuff is important because instead of commodifying the individual's health, we're here to actually restore balance, the status quo of the body. So I wanted to real quick read an excerpt that I wrote for my class here just recently. Alcohol, drugs, and other external factors produce stress on the body. Chinta, which is Sanskrit for stress, reduces the ojas in the body, ojas being the vital essence of one's being, the blissful state, the state of relaxed bliss, as you might call it. In the Anxiety, Stress, and Coping, an international journal, featured a research paper that examined the effects of transcendental meditation on stress reduction, health, and employee development. And this study revealed regular meditators improved significantly more than the control group on multiple measures of stress, employee development, and reduced physiological arousal measured by the skin conductance levels during the outside of TM practice, right? So the group that practiced meditation saw a reduction in anger, other physiological symptoms, stress, and all sorts of things. And this study draws the direct link between meditation and enhanced consciousness, right? So by reducing stress, you're directly aiding in restoring your ojas, which is the blissful state, so the status quo balanced state. And by reducing stress, you're directly aiding in restoring the ojas, which is your balanced state, right? The blissful state. And so something that I concluded was the ojas is a strong indicator of well-being as a blissful state of one's inner intelligence, the body's inner intelligence, and the imbalanced state of such bliss will hinder the body's ability to enact in its pure consciousness, right? So for example, I'm sure many of you have gotten food poisoning before or felt really weird after eating something, and then try to recall your state of being at that moment. All you could think about was feeling better. Your mind might have felt fatigued or brain fogged. You couldn't think straight because all the energy was going to your gut in order to restore the food that you ate, right? Similarly, if you've gotten the flu or a sickness, the only thing your body cares about and your mind cares about at that exact moment is being back to good health, right? So this is why I'm saying that I believe the ojas is an indicator of one's inner intelligence, one's body's inner intelligence, and how this imbalanced state will hinder our ability to engage in our pure consciousness, because we've gone to a level where the only thing that matters is health, right? So in consciousness is an awareness state. So your awareness is being detracted to the gut issues if you cannot restore your ojas. So the point that I was drawing to here towards the end of my paper that I wrote was, I believe that this may be one of the reasons why we seek external factors to supplement the ojas depletion, right? Such as alcohol, drugs, Netflix, things like that. These factors may reduce the immediate short-term consciousness of such stressors, and therefore reducing our temporary sensitivity to these imbalanced ojas. However, long-term, I believe this inhibits our body's inner intelligence from deriving this bliss naturally and consistently, which only further imbalances our ojas in the long run. So I think this is all very important because I'm reading this book currently called Healing the Gut, Mind, and Emotions. And basically the author talks about how Ayurveda science is about 5,000 years old. But during colonial rule, where the British ruled over India, in 1837, 1835, I believe, they created the English Education Act, which basically removed funding for anything in Eastern medicine, Eastern science, and pushed Western ideologies and Western practices of education to everybody. And it became the gold standard ever since. And that's why I think history can be very important to understand, because, you know, you're only born for certain decades, right? You have such a limited time span on Earth that, you know, especially as we grow up, we're indoctrinated into ideologies that we far rarely ever question. So I think it's really important to understand history, because then you're starting to question, why did I think that? Why did I think pills would solve my stress when I could have just meditated, or I could have done yoga, or I could have, you know, gone on a walk on the beach, or I could have gone in nature, right? We stop questioning things because of how quickly we're indoctrinated. And coming from an anthropology background, our cultural evolution is far surpassing our biological evolution, which means we're having a larger and larger discrepancy between our primitive state and our higher conscious state. And things such as technology, which we're seeing adapt so quickly into our society and rapidly changing. I mean, look, AI came out this year and it has transformed so many industries already. I couldn't imagine in 10 years where we'll be, right? So, because I believe without the empowerment of this knowledge, we're going to be very lost in years to come. And mainly because I believe we're losing our roots and losing what it means to be human. And if you look at every revolution, that generation goes through immense amount of struggles and pain in order for us to prosper into the next revolution, or next time period, I could say, right? So for example, the agricultural revolution, when we went from being semi-nomadic and walking around, we switched to sedentary lifestyles of agriculture and farming, which what ended up happening was so many individuals had a lot of pain, physical pain that happened from this switch. Our bodies weren't meant to crouch all day, sit all day, hunch over all day and grab weeds, right? So what ended up happening was immense amount of stress was put on the body. And this stress, which the Ayurveda book talks about, stress can actually be passed down through DNA, because stress alters the DNA strands, and then when you reproduce, that actually gets passed down as well. The body holds and stores memories as well as trauma and stress, which is why I believe the factor that I mentioned in this title, the leading cause of all problems, is stress. Stress causes all ailments, not just physical, but also mental ailments, right? From stress, you can't think clearly. From stress, you get inflammation in the body. You might have a lack of confidence from stress, because you might start seeing weight gain or skin issues or hair issues, and all sorts of problems arise from inflammation in the body, which is produced from stress, which inflammation is just another proper term is oxidative stress. And so oxidative stress is basically a positive oxygen ion, individual little molecule or individual little atom, right? Just rolling around your body. And this is what we call oxidative stress. And side tangent, there's actually research coming out that the earth emits a slight electromagnetic negative charge, which is absolutely crazy if you think about it, because that negative charge pulls the positive ion charges from your body, reducing oxidative stress and therefore reducing inflammation. This is actually why I believe things such as walking on the beach. Think about it. Think about every time you go onto the beach. Maybe you might not love the beach, but every time you go to the beach and you put your feet in the sand, we all feel this reduced, immense reduction in stress, right? Because I believe there's a grounding effect that occurs when our feet is touched to the earth for an extended amount of time. So, that's why I believe this topic is so important and understanding stress is so important. And this will be topics that I discuss further and in more detail over the years to come, especially as I learn more and experience more. But I encourage you all to keep an open mind, and you don't have to believe me. You don't have to take my word on anything, but I do encourage you to hear out different perspectives than your own, because even just a few years ago, I may not even accepted this information because I was so indoctrinated into the Western ideologies of medicine and Western ideologies of what is deemed correct. And Western sciences, we follow this thing called reductionism, which is basically where you have, if you do not have proof of something, it therefore does not exist. But that's almost ludicrous and absurd now that I think about it, because if we applied that to our social justice system, for example, that would be like saying you are guilty until proven innocent, right? In a way, it's the functional equivalent if you're following what I'm saying, right? Because we're not going to believe you until you have proof. But something that's crazy, like I mentioned at the beginning of this episode about the English Education Act in the 1800s, was that funding stopped for things like this. So if there's no funding, then there's no proof, and therefore there's no proof, you're not going to believe it. That's why I encourage you all to keep an open mind and try things out, right? The thing about Ayurveda that it really stresses is we have different components of all of us. And that's why health is such a mind-boggling puzzle, is because it's not a one-size-fits-all, right? And, I'm not going to get too into it right now, but there's these things called doshas, which is basically what makes up your biological components of who you are. And if for those of you who've seen The Last Airbender Avatar, they have the fire, earth, air, water elements, right? The tribes. And that's actually, Avatar was heavily influenced by Indian ideologies of Ayurveda and Sanskrit and all sorts of things, which is actually really cool if you think about it. But those are the doshas. And it talks about the elemental balance of such between water, earth, fire, space, things like that. So that's why each of us have a slightly different health composition. And that's why it doesn't always, my advice for what I do might not always fit for you. But if you keep an open mind, then you will find out what does work for you. And I think that's the important part about understanding and implementing preventative care lifestyle factors, right? So if there's one thing you get from this episode, it's to understand that stress is the leading cause of everything, from heart attacks to weight gain to mental fog, everything. I believe it's the root cause of so many issues, and it's a modern problem. When I went and did biological anthropology in Kenya, I did not see individuals stressed in the way we have stress, right? Modern stress. I will add one more point, which is that stress is so important, right? But there's herbs and remedies that can also supplement and help with things like this. So there's this thing called Magic Mind. You may or may not have heard of it. Joe Rogan advocates it. There's many other people that have advocated for it. It's basically a neurotropic shot, which has cordyceps mushroom, lion's mane mushroom, some caffeine, turmeric, all sorts of herb complex and organic ingredients. And the ingredients look really healthy. As someone that's been in medicine and things of this nature, I always look at the ingredient list and it looks very clean to me. They actually gave me a shipment to try out and share my review with you all, and I did try it. The taste is an acquired taste, but the health benefits are irrefutable. The caffeine mixed with the blend, the Magic Mind blend that they have created of these herbs, created a sustained amount of energy and focus, and it was really awesome. I really enjoyed it. And I said acquired taste because it's not like you're drinking a milkshake, but if you've ever had, a green detox smoothie drink and things like that, it's got that health taste to it. So if you're looking for smoothies and milkshakes, this isn't the place. But if you're looking for enhancing your productivity and focus, this you might want to give it a shot. It's got ashwagandha, which helps with stress and everything. They are the video sponsor for this episode and maybe future episodes, but I really like what they do. Joe Rogan likes it. A lot of other people enjoy it. So you might want to give it a shot. I will say the only con is it is slightly on the expensive side. However, if you're already drinking coffee, you might want to give it a shot because it's about the same price as buying a coffee out. And you don't have to drink it every day, but they recommend drinking it every day for health effects. But if you're going to Starbucks anyways, might as well switch it with this because it has way more health benefits. It's organic. It doesn't have the white sugar, refined sugar that Starbucks puts in their drinks and such. So, and coffee actually creates jitters and this uses matcha caffeine, which is a sustained level of caffeine from the tea base, right? So, give it a shot if you're interested. If not, I just wanted to share my personal review and what I liked about the product. So thanks Magic Mind for sponsoring the episode and giving me a chance to try the drink. So, but one thing I wanted to raise awareness about is that I'll never advertise anything that I don't truly believe just for the sake of making some money. So I do want to preface that, and I really do believe this product is great, that you should try it out. But, you know, if it's a little too pricey for you to just test it out for the first time, they did give me a discount link code that you can use for your first purchase on Magic Mind. So go to magicmind.com or magicmind.com/Shiva, SHIVA, to get your first subscription or purchase on the product. And they're giving a 56% discount. So you're getting half off to try it out. So if you're curious and you want to give it a shot, instead of getting it on Amazon, you could go to the website, use that code, try it out, and try it out for over 50% discount. So that's pretty great. And I really want to say thank you to them for doing that. The discount code is Shiva, SHIVA 20, Shiva 20, and you'll get over 56% off on your subscription. Thank you all for checking this out in this episode and keeping an open mind with me. I highly encourage you guys share this with anybody that you believe would benefit from the stuff that we talked about today, right? Stress and Ayurveda and topics such as these. So, I could really use your support as I'm trying to help out people and share knowledge and open up people's perspectives on the world and health, which is going to be even more important than ever before as fast food industries and AI and tech and VR headsets and everything comes out in this world. We're going to lose sight of what we're rooted to, and that's why I believe these topics are so important. So thank you all for your support, and I would really appreciate if you guys could give me ratings or shares and just spread the word if you enjoy it. If you don't, that's fine, but if you enjoy it, there's nothing more I can ask for than your support and sharing this message with others. So thank you guys, and remember everybody, you either learn from or you're learned from.